Okay, here's the next part. The camera went off, so let me get this. So here we are, Tuesday, 9/09/28, 58 seconds, year 2023, 6 month, 6 day, June 6 month. You know, it could have been that guy, you know, didn't have time and he was on his way to work and he wanted to say something right there. He didn't have time to stick around. So for me to, you know, to avoid any conflict and go run into the forest or walk into the forest or head toward the forest, you know. So I knew what was up. And I'm sure he probably figured out that I knew what was up. And he might even use the runaway tactic before, you know, as though I wasn't... But, you know, what ifs and could be's. What ifs and could be's. Had to wet down the butt wiper rag. So I just bend over and wipe the ass with a nice wet rag, and it feels good and gets the ass nice and clean. I didn't have to use no sandpaper, toilet paper on the butt. Something artificial, you know, this and that. Now put the Hisnia belt back on to hold the Hisnia in position. Yeah. So I remember as the guy over there or the girl over there speaking through, and the extraterrestrial was getting louder with his voice, you know, I was looking to focus on the recording, the YouTube recording that I had going on. So the voice that I had to raise up and whatnot to focus, you know. So there's a wonderful thing with some loudness. Sometimes that's what's needed for focus. In the midst of, you know, some escalating situation. So, anyway. So here I am with part 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever part it is to today's public record. Putting stuff on military record. So I still have no idea who that was. And I really don't want to know, because that way, you know, when there won't be any funny business with the eye contact. If I don't know who it is, and I had eye contact with them, and they sense that the eye contact was just, you know, something wonderful, you know, no use going that way with it. I like to assess everything, man. Audit everything. Just assess it. Think on it. Think it through. Well, it could go this direction. It could go that direction. It could be this. It could be that. And I like to get it on public record. Just because. This is naturally who I am. Yeah, just because. So anyway, here I am, spending time in the jungle, because I was out in the lion's plain out there. that was out in clear sight, the lion's plain. And so, naturally, the lion was feeling kind of threatened. Who is this tigress that showed up out in the jungle? And so I showed naturally how the tiger went back to its country because it was near the border. That's a border area over there. Border areas are very sensitive. It's like going through the neighborhood. Gang members, I learned this on YouTube videos. Gang members know where each other's territory or borders are at in the neighborhood, on the sidewalks. The sidewalks are borderlines. So those are free speech zones, also known as... Wow, look at that. So look back here. Here's a neighbor that's got some flowers and stuff growing on the corner of the fence right there. To kind of, purple flowers to kind of help bring some wonderfulness to because this is gang graffiti area. I live all in gang graffiti area. See all that? This gang member area. Although, it's not heavy gang area, but it's the same idea. It's not total violent gang area. But when one looks at what's being painted all over the fences, one might think, oh my God, I'm struck with the worst gang sensation ever. This is terrible. It's terrible to have to live in a gang neighborhood. Terrible. Yeah, could be terrible. So anyway, I'm walking back and forth between the front yard and the backyard because that's where the escalation happened, was out in the front yard. So I'm feeling the energy. And I know just how far to go and then go back here in the backyard. This is the jungle. That's the lion's plain out there. That's actually the king's domain, also known as the high seas where piracy happens, out in the open. Yeah. Wow. Look at that insight. In Chimichanga land. That I learned that on, I guess I just call it the Chimichanga videos. There's this guy who goes into the Cholo areas, and he's, I guess, respected enough. He's allowed to go in, and they let him film the Cholo life. What goes on in Cholo life. And there's the good side, there's the bad side. Just like the white man's life. They also got the good side and the bad side. The culture. There's the violent side, there's the peaceful side. In any nationality, any race. Yeah, so I've watched enough to see what goes in the Chunga Chunga. That's where I got some real insight into, the neighborhood borders, the gangs. They all know their borders. And one of the guys said, and the borders have never changed. The neighborhood sidewalk border lines have never changed. Or if there's no sidewalk there, the street border lines have never changed. Always been the same. But that was just what one interviewee, what one gang member or one cholo, said. from his perspective. It could be that it was wrong. There could have been some changes. As far as he could say, he might not know what the changes were. It's all possible. There could be some changes at big governmental levels. And then they just allow them to think that things haven't changed. It would be no different than cannabis or marijuana. At the higher levels, things have changed. Things haven't changed. But at the lower state levels, they think things have changed. Borders have moved. Yeah, that's a wonderful example. So, yeah. So here this is. I got the eyes of the panther. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. See, now, when I was out in the front yard and I was saying all this stuff and I was proclaiming all this stuff, because I was on the rooftop up there, in full sight, everyone, up on the rooftop. Now, when I was up there, as I was focused in on this camera, I had no idea who was around me. And I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. Because that's the realm and the imagination, the Capricorn energy, that's the realm that I go into with just total focus. That's the Capricorn on the wall. He's just totally focused on what he's onto. He's not looking around. He's not worried about with what's around him, because the Capricorn needs to be sure-footed on the wall. So look at that energy. Look at that wonderful example. I was on the rooftop up here, more so all the way to the top, to the ridge on the crest. I was walking back and forth because in the videos, one was able to see that I was examining the patchwork that I did up there. I laid down some glue tar for some flapping tiles. So this reminds me, I'm going to go back in the video and I want to see, if I can hear the hey, hey, hey in the video. I'm curious if the hey, hey, hey was there. In fact, this is going to give me something to watch right now. I'm going to end this video. I'm going to go back and look at it because now I've been motivated and sparked. All right. Pull the finger. Talk to you later.